Hey friend, welcome back to another episode on the Grace-Filled Leader podcast. In our last episode, we looked at and talked about the instinctive or gut triad of the Enneagram, and today we're going to explore the feeling triad, also known as the heart triad. We're going to take a closer look at types 2, 3, and 4. So if you're ready to understand a little bit more about yourself, what drives your behavior, and how to grow in your personal and professional life, stay tuned for more. Welcome to the Grace-Filled Leader podcast. Do you want better work-life balance? Do you get stuck in patterns of perfectionism and people-pleasing? Have you always been an overachiever but never really felt good enough, no matter how much outward success you achieve? Do you want more time for the things that matter most? Well, you are in the right place. Here on the Grace-Filled Leader podcast, we focus on spirit-driven success and share the secrets to having better work-life balance as a busy woman in leadership. Here you will learn how to set boundaries like a boss, find peace of mind, and reclaim your time for the things that matter most. Hi, I'm Tanya, a wife, mom, leader, and certified Christian life coach. For most of my life, I tried to find worthiness through achievement. I spent decades people-pleasing and pouring myself into my work. I was looking for my value through the approval of others. This led me to feel burned out, empty, and exhausted. I had no time or energy for myself or my family. I realized that I was wasting time and energy looking for validation in all the wrong places. But my life changed when I finally surrendered and God showed me a different way. It is my mission to help you start living the abundant life God has for you. If you're ready to become fueled by grace and find freedom from people-pleasing, if you're ready to multiply your time and impact as a Christian woman in leadership, this podcast is for you. Roll up your sleeves, sister friends. It's time to get after it. Okay, the feeling triad, or the heart triad, consists of types 2, 3, and 4. But before we dive into the feeling triad more, I want to share a perspective about the Enneagram. And I warned you that I'm going to repeat this perspective throughout our Enneagram series this month. And that is that what we don't know about ourselves can ultimately hurt us and those around us. Working with the Enneagram allows us to develop the self-awareness that helps us understand who we are and why we perceive and relate to the world the way we do. The reality is our wounds and the beliefs that we've formed shape the way we see and respond to our circumstances. If we don't develop an understanding of our history and our responses to it, we will be prisoners to it, blindly making the same mistakes and coping in the same ways we always have. Once we learn how and why we see and respond to the world the way we do, we can be more intentional about getting out of our own way, and we are better positioned to listen to the Holy Spirit's leading to become more of the person that God created us to be. So, back to the feeling triad of the Enneagram. These 3 types are primarily driven by their emotions and their need for attention, affirmation, and validation. People in this triad often struggle with shame and how they express or cope with it. Each type has its unique way of dealing with these emotions and their environment. So let's explore each one in a little bit more detail. So first we have type 2, the helper. Helpers are caring and generous and empathetic individuals who strive to be loved and appreciated by helping others. Their core characteristics are that they are warm, friendly, and self-sacrificing. They have a natural ability to connect with others, and they're driven by a deep, deep desire to feel needed and valued. They often put others' needs before their own, and they find joy in being of service to others. Now, when stressed, helpers can become overly involved and intrusive. They may neglect their own needs in an effort to meet others, and they might even become manipulative to get their needs met indirectly through service, and they struggle with resentment if they feel unappreciated. So these are the people that sometimes put themselves out there as martyrs in the service of others. So, however, when they are secure in a more balanced state, helpers are more self-aware and they're able to take care of their own needs while also helping others. They become genuinely altruistic or helpful, offering their support without expecting anything in return. So they aren't as needy for that validation or affirmation. They don't have as strong of a need to be needed or valued when they are in a healthier state, because they truly want to be giving and service-minded from an altruistic place. Some tips for growth for the helper or type 2 are: number 1, to set boundaries, to learn to say no and prioritize your own needs if you're a type 2. It's okay to take care of yourself first. Remember, if we don't take care of ourselves, we really can't effectively take care of others. And we might be taking care of them or serving them with a sort of underlying manipulative need to be needed. The second tip is to seek authenticity. So, along the lines I was just talking about, ensure that your help is given freely and not as a means to gain love or approval. So give for the sake of giving, not for recognition. And the third tip is to develop more self-awareness. Reflect on your motivations and recognize when you're overextending yourself. So when you are giving or helping or serving, look within and understand your motivations. Are you truly wanting to serve for the sake of serving, or do you have selfish motivations guiding that service? And recognize when you're overextending yourself, because when you are, you're going to be more at risk for serving for the wrong reasons. Next, we have type 3, the achiever. Achievers are goal-oriented, they're adaptable, and they are success-driven individuals who strive to be valuable and admired. Their core characteristics are that achievers are ambitious, they're efficient, and they are very image conscious. They have a strong desire to excel and to be recognized for their accomplishments. They're highly adaptable and they can easily adjust their image to fit different situations and expectations. When they're under stress, achievers can become overly competitive and even become workaholics. They might cut corners just to achieve success. They might become overly concerned with their image, and they might fear failure very intensely. Now, in contrast, when the achiever is in a state of balance and security, they are more genuine and self-aware. They focus on their true desires and values, and their success becomes a reflection of their authentic self rather than a means to gain approval. So, some tips for growth and development for the achiever. Number 1, cultivate authenticity. So, focus on what truly matters to you beyond external validation. Number 2, embrace failure. See failure as a learning opportunity and not a reflection of your worth or your value. And number 3, learn how to balance work and life. Prioritize your personal well-being and your relationships alongside your professional goals. And finally, we have type 4, the individualist. Individualists are very creative, sensitive, and introspective individuals who strive to be very unique and authentic. Some core characteristics of the individualists are that they are very expressive, they feel deeply, and they are very imaginative. They have a strong desire to understand themselves and express their unique identity. They often feel very different from others, and they can be highly attuned to their own emotional experiences. When they're under stress, individualists can become very moody and withdrawn. They might dwell on what's missing in their lives, and they might feel misunderstood and become overly focused on their own emotions and experiences. In contrast, when they are in a more secure state and balanced, individualists embrace their uniqueness while also staying connected to others. They channel their creativity into productive outlets, and they appreciate the beauty in the present moment. Some tips for growth and development for the individualist is to first practice gratitude. Focus on the positives in your life and what you have rather than what you lack or what is missing. The second tip is to stay grounded. Engage in activities that connect you to the present moment and to other people. And the third tip is to express creatively. Use your creative talents in ways that bring joy and fulfillment and that share your gifts with the world. So use that creativity and imagination to pay it forward or build others up. So I'm going to go over those 3 types one more time. Again, this is the feeling triad. This triad struggles with shame as the dominant emotion, and they differ in how they express it or cope with it. So type 2 is the helper. They are caring and generous and empathetic who strive to be loved and appreciated by helping others, sometimes to an extreme in their less healthy state. Areas for growth for the helper are to set boundaries, seek authenticity, and to develop self-awareness. So focusing on serving and giving for the right reasons, not to be needed or valued. Type 3 is the achiever. They are very ambitious, efficient, and very image conscious, sometimes becoming overly competitive, verging on being workaholics, just because they are so concerned with their image and success. So tips for growth and development for the achiever are to, again, cultivate authenticity, focusing on what really matters to you outside of external validation. Number 2, embrace failure, see it as a learning opportunity. And number 3, learn how to balance work with life priorities. And finally, type 4, the individualist. These are the creative, sensitive, introspective types. Their opportunities for growth are to practice gratitude for what they have, to stay grounded in the present and with others, and to express their creativity in positive ways. So I hope that this dive into the feeling triad has given you some insights into types 2, 3, and 4. I know we're just scratching the surface, and we'll talk more about each type in future episodes, but just understanding these types a little bit more can help you recognize your own patterns and patterns in those that either you work with or that you love, maybe family members, which helps to foster better relationship and personal growth. The goal is not to put ourselves in a particular box type, but just use this awareness and this knowledge as a tool for developing ourselves. So in our next episode, we are going to talk about the third triad, which is the thinking triad, and we're going to dive into types 5, 6, and 7 on the Enneagram. Again, if you are enjoying this series or any other episode, be sure to follow the show and please leave a written review. Even if it's a brief review, your feedback helps us grow the show and reach more listeners. If you want even more in-depth exploration of the Enneagram, your Enneagram type, and how to personally apply it to your life and your leadership, go to my website and book a free consult with me at gracefilledleader.com/work with me. It's amazing how understanding your Enneagram type and the blind spots that go with it can really help grow you from a leadership standpoint and a relationship standpoint. So give it some consideration. And in the meantime, I pray that the Lord fills you with gratitude, peace, and His amazing grace. I pray this episode blessed you, spoke to you, or encouraged you in some way. If so, please share it with a friend and head on over to Apple Podcasts to leave me a review. That's the only way for me to know if you're enjoying the show. Nothing blesses me more than to hear from you. Also, come on over to our free Facebook community. This is a great place for us to support one another on our faith and leadership journeys. You can find the link to the group in the show notes or go to gracefilledleader.com/community. If you have questions or content ideas for the show, please send me a message on SpeakPipe or via email. Go to gracefilledleader.com/contact and leave a written or voice recorded message. I would love to know how I can best serve you on the podcast. Now to Him who can do immeasurably more than we can ask or imagine, according to His power that is at work within us. Ephesians 3, verse 20. Until next time, my friends, God bless.